Hello, everyone, and welcome to That Mom Vlog. Hello, everyone. I am coming to you today as hashtag That Nurse. This is a public service announcement to let you know just a few tips to be educated, aware, and to do a little bit better if you haven't been, or even to educate a friend. Of course, it is being recommended by the CDC to stay home. If you cannot stay home, make sure that you take your shoes off, um, wipe off your groceries, uh, wash your clothes as soon as you can, or at least separate them. Thank you to all the essential workers. We appreciate you so much for holding us down on the outside. How is it out there? I hope that you've gotten your free Crocs, your free donuts, your percentage off, your lunchtime snacks, your sandwiches, and thank you even more for the people who are supporting those who are working, from daycare workers to the hospital workers, post office. Just be, we appreciate you and we're praying for you as well. The next thing is the best way to prevent the spread of infection, and this is not a new thing. You guys do it daily, hopefully before meals, after using the bathroom, sometimes before using the bathroom, um, during preparing food, washing your hands. My favorite way when I teach my students how to wash hands is you're going to you rinse your hands just to get them wet. You get some soap on your hand. If you need to get 2 squirts, I usually probably do 2 depending on how much soap it is. Like the home soap, I could do 1 pump, but I want to make sure I get a good lather. The way that I wash my hands is like 1 digit at a time. But the cool thing about doing it that way is that I can see what I've washed. Okay? Okay, so that's the way that I teach. That's one way that I teach my students to wash their hands. Okay, and I'm able to see what is washed and what's not. So when my kids are washing their hands and all of this is just dry, no soap, let's start over again. And did you hear they have some songs? So of course ABC or Happy Birthday song or some songs you can sing. But what I've been enjoying lately is Welcome to Atlanta where the players play and we ride on them things like, honey, listen. I have been cracking up by myself with my 2-year-old washing his hands. Like, son, you must know the culture. You must. If you are not able to, and the best thing that hand washing provides is the friction to actually get rid of the germs. Okay, whether it's bacteria, whether it's a virus, whether it is dirt, especially if you can see your hands, you need to wash them. So if you go play outside in the mud or you're cleaning up your garage, sanitizer ain't gonna do it, boo. Ain't gonna do it. So wash your hands. Another thing is when you do have sanitizer, and I've looked at, I have probably 3 of these were probably free. We probably bought 2 of them. But I've been looking at the sanitizers that we have in Purell. And what's recommended is 70% ethyl alcohol. So if it's not 70%, then like 70% is what's recommended. If it's more than that, then it can cause more damage than not. So don't think, oh, I'm just going to increase this, like, oh, I'm going to leave this conditioner, this leave-in for another 10 minutes so it can really take. No, honey, they've done the science. Just trust them, okay? Next, we're going to talk about gloves. So I thought it was so cool. One of my adjuncts that I had, which is like a teaching assistant that takes a class to clinical, what I used to be, I loved it. But she gave us an awesome experiment. I'm not going to do it because I don't have the supplies, but it really opened my eyes to something. So first, the proper way to put the gloves on really is to have clean hands. You're supposed to, when nurses put on gloves, we make sure that we clean our hands first. Okay, so I'm going to put my hand in. I've got my thumb here. Gloves are single use. Okay, you use them one time, you throw them away. So after I have my first one on, I'm going to put my second one on. Okay. Okay, gloves are on. You go like this when you're really fancy and you're ready to start the procedure. Y'all see this, what is it called? Stay in the house, isolation hairdo. Honey, protection styles. Anyway. So, when nurses use these, when doctors use these, when anyone who uses gloves use these appropriately in the healthcare setting, they use them to prevent themselves from touching um, bodily fluids. We use it to protect ourselves from. So if we think that there's going to be some type of, so sometimes we use it for precaution. We'll just put gloves on just to protect ourselves. Some people might have like a cut or something and they have a band-aid on, so they're just going to wear gloves all day to kind of prevent anything from entering their system and from their patient experiencing their juices, bodily fluids. So when you take these off, that's going to be one thing I show you guys. When you take these off, I always tell my students, imagine if you just changed a patient's diaper that was covered in soil or poop. And I brought in chocolate pudding this semester, and it was awesome. I loved it, and I made them rub it all over their hands. Okay, so imagine if there was chocolate pudding all over my hands. Whenever you take your gloves off with chocolate pudding, with Walmart dust, with COVID-19, whenever you take them off, you don't want to put the reason that you had the gloves on in the first place on your wrist. So you don't want to go like this, because really it just, that hand that was mostly clean, you don't want to put the poop on your wrist, right? So these are one-time use. These are porous as well. These all gloves have small holes in them, microscopic holes. That way, if I have these on right now, my hands are not sweating because there's holes, so there's like vents. So the project I was telling you all about, my adjunct, she went around, she had everybody put on gloves. She put some poster paint on their hands in their glove and made them rub it around like they would do sanitizer. So they all did it. Then she made them all take them off. So now I'm going to show you how to properly take off gloves. So imagine whatever is on your gloves, your worst nightmare is on them right now. So I'm going to start here because I don't want to touch the poop or whatever else the substance is. People usually hate poop or mucus, whatever you hate. That's on the gloves. You'll pinch here, okay, in your palm, and you'll slide it off. Okay, you don't want it to fling anywhere. You ball it up in your hand. Now I can use this hand. Oh, but when one of my students took off her gloves, there was paint on her hand. I was so shocked, y'all. Like, what? But it makes sense. There's holes in it so your hand can breathe. So this is why gloves are nurses are or other people are kind of frowning on using gloves going grocery shopping or doing other things to protect yourself, because really it's a one-time use and things can get through your hand. The best way to prevent the spread of infection is what? Hand washing. Okay. Next, I'm going to take this one off. So now I can go underneath and I'm going to pull this around. So now it's concealed. With this, where should I put it? On the grass? On the sidewalk? No. I'm going to find my nearest receptacle and put this in the trash. Okay? And then when these come off, what's supposed to happen? You're supposed to wash your hands. I believe in you guys. You can do it. I'm not done yet. Masks. These are surgical masks. CDC is recommending that everyone wear some type of cover or some type of cloth face covering. Cloth face covering will protect you from things like allergens, dust, pollen. Surgical masks can protect you from droplets. So when people are coming to the hospital and let's say that they have, I'm trying to think of something that'll shoot across the room. Like maybe MRSA in their sputum. They will put this on, and not the people, but the nurses will. So they put this around their face this way, and we'll do this before we put gloves on. So if you do have a surgical mask, and you're going to do it right above that like point in your head, okay? And then you bring this one down, and then you wrap this around, and this goes to about your neck. So, and I have them tied in a bow, so that way whenever I'm finished with them, I can just pull it right off, okay? So then this, we're gonna put this little nose down. We're gonna make sure we have it open, that it's covering our nose and our mouth, okay? So this is when somebody has a droplet, there's a large bacteria, or let's just say a large germ. We are trying to prevent that from splashing, kind of, because droplets, you cough and it goes and then it drops down, okay? So if you're taking this type of mask off, then you'll go at the back. I like to wash my hands prior to taking this off. All of this is dirty as well. When you've used this for an hour, for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 5, this is dirty because this is being filtered. So you don't want to touch your mask, okay? So you're going to touch the back here, and let's see if I can find the string. I always tell my students, if it's awkward, then that's how you know you're doing it right. I have a little cheat sheet. Let's see if I can do this the right way. Okay, thank you. Then get the other string, and then I'm gonna go to the top and pull this one off, okay? And then now, again, this is the contaminated part. Unless you're sick, it could be on the inside. And then this is going where? In the garbage. The next thing is, so this is another type of surgical mask. It has the bar and this has the stretchies on it. So usually I just put those around my ear first. I'll bring this down and then just push that little metal guard. Okay? And that's how it should look. It should be covering your nose again. Okay? All right. And then when you take this one off, I'll wash my hands prior to. We're not going to touch this. And we're just going to pull it off that way. Okay? Where does it go? In the trash. Last thing, N95. N95 masks will protect you from airborne things. The coronavirus or COVID-19 is airborne. So if someone coughs, usually it's, the research says that if they cough, if they sneeze, that's when it's expelled. So that's why if you hear somebody coughing or sneezing, you need to check them out. You having any fever, honey? Are you having other symptoms? Did you lose your taste or your smell? Are you sweating? Do you have a temperature, body aches? So those people are not supposed to be anywhere. Also, they have a 6-foot rule, so stay 6 feet away. I went to the post office to take my parents some masks. Thank you, Nana, my mother-in-law, for sending some to me to send to them. And they had, in the post office, they had like tape with 6 feet away, and they only allowed 6 people in the lobby at a time. So N95, this will, if a nurse has a patient that is positive for COVID-19 and he has the supplies they need, this is the mask that they're going to use to protect themselves from it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And the cool thing about this mask is, and you see I did it both at the same time, you want to make sure this mask fits your face. Nurses, and then you push that down, and that's it. Again, this is all dirty, okay? Because you've been breathing and it's been filtering, okay? Just like you filter in the house for the air conditioning, it's the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, okay? I forget, what was I gonna say? You wanna make sure that these fit correctly. In the hospital yearly, we are fit tested, where they put like a hood over top of our heads, and then they spray like a sugar spray in the mask, and they have us put a mask on, and they ask us if we can taste it. If we can taste it, it's the wrong size, and it's not effective. I saw someone, one of my sorority sisters' father posted it. I believe he's a paramedic, correct me if I'm wrong, and he said that no air should be escaping it when you're breathing in and out. So I believe that brings us to the end. I was texted about if I thought that somebody had COVID-19 because of their symptoms. The CDC has an awesome, pretty much live chat that you can click on. You go to CDC and it pulls it up right at the top because they already know why you're there. And you can tell them your symptoms, and I think it's an awesome resource. So again, you do want to go to a source that has valid, evidence-based research. Ma Zheng Wang is selling some jean N95 masks. They're so cute. They come with filters. So if you do have a mask that is N95, and it does have a filter. There's so many times that you can use it. In the hospital, I know that I've heard that they are doing 8 hours. If you keep the mask on for 8 hours, you can do it that way, or um, or 5 times. You know, that's what they've been doing with the nurses as they care for people. So if they put it on to go take care of the person and then come out, they put like a tick on it, and or like a, you know, a little line. They put it in the bag and they just keep it there, or they'll dispose of it. Another thing is that surgical masks are one-time use, and if any of your masks get wet, then you cannot use it. You're not allowed to write on it. So like in the past, I've thought about like, oh, I wish I could just write a smile. It messes the integrity of the mask up. So I hope you learned something. If there are anything, what are you doing to stay safe? Please share it in the comments. Share this video if you thought it was helpful. I love you guys. God loves you more. Remember that you are that mom, that sister, that friend, that daughter, that bestie, that servant of Jesus Christ, that employee. Keep that spirit of excellence going on, honey. I appreciate everybody who's adapting during this time, teaching from home, or just one person that I follow that does my nails. Not these. This was girl time with Victoria and I, my 5-year-old. She's come up with nails, and it comes in like the cutest little pizza delivery box. So they're press-on nails. And she says like, what's your topping? So that's fresh liqueur. She's in Daytona. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I just appreciate everybody. He said it's time to go. I appreciate everybody who is adapting to the situation. Don't be too hard on yourself and think that you need to come out with a new hobby. Just know that this is brand new for all of us. This is our first pandemic, and just waking up every day, doing your best, that's all that's required. Reach out to 3 people today and just let them know that you love them and that they're doing a great job, or see how you can be there for them if you're available to do that. Again, hashtag that mom. I'm out.